We'll have our reading this morning.
This week's reading from Rays of the One Light is titled Deeds versus Intentions. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ emphasized repeatedly the spirit, not the letter of the law. In chapter 5 of the Gospel of St. Matthew, he speaks of the sin of killing and of the legal punishment attendant on that sin, but says that more important than the act is the desire to kill or to do harm. He shows that the sin of harmful desire goes beyond merely wanting to kill. My message to you, he said, is this: whoever is angry with his brother without cause already stands condemned. Whoever contemptuously calls his brother a fool shall answer to it to the Supreme Council, and whoever calls his brother an outcast of God shall be in danger of hell fire. Brother here means any other human being, for all of us in the highest sense are his brothers and sisters, children of our one Father, Mother, God. The true self of one is the self of all. To hurt another is even if one doesn't realize it, to hurt oneself. Swami Kriyananda in The Path recalls an episode where the master Paramahansa Yogananda revealed his sense of identity even with the plants. One day, Kriyananda wrote, we were moving a delicate but rather heavy tropical plant into position on the hillside. Our handling evidently was too rough, for Master cried out, "Be careful of what you are doing. Can't you feel it's alive?" To wish death to anyone, to wish even harm to another creature, is to deny in oneself the reality of that divine life of which all of us are manifestations. It is, in short, to deny the eternal truth proclaimed by the Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter. The self is never born, nor does it perish. Once existing, it cannot ever cease to be. It is birthless, eternal, changeless, ever itself. It is not slain when the body is slain. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
And your talk too. You bring your talk notes up too if you need them. Your talk notes, okay. You're going to stand at the podium, Jiavanna. You're going to go stand at the podium. Okay. So are we good? I look up. So I'm going to read from Whispers from Eternity. These are prayer poems from Paramahansa Yogananda. And this one is called, I Was Made for Thee. I was made for thee alone. I was made for dropping flowers of devotion gently at thy feet on the altar of the morning. My hands were made to serve thee willingly, to remain folded in adoration, waiting for thy coming. And when thou comest, to bathe thy feet with my tears. My voice was made to sing thy glory. My feet were made to seek thy temples everywhere. My eyes were made a chalice to hold thy burning love and the wisdom falling from thy nature's hands. My ears were made to catch the music of thy footsteps, echoing through the halls of space, and to hear thy divine melodies flowing through all heart tracks of devotion. My lips were made to breathe forth thy praises and thine intoxicating inspirations. My love was made to throw incandescent searchlight flames to find thee hidden in the forest of my desires. My heart was made to respond to thy call alone. My soul was made to be the channel through which thy love might flow uninterruptedly into all thirsty souls. Yep. So I just have to keep my water near me.
Want me to move the table, Giavanna? I'll move the table
Okay,
over for
thank
you so you have a spot for everything. There you go.
So our talk this morning is about deeds versus intentions. I'd like to start with this prayer from Yogananda. Your religion is not the garb you wear outwardly, the thoughts and beliefs in which you enclose yourself. Your religion is the garment of light you weave around your heart. And to repeat that again. Your religion is the garment of light you weave around your heart. And so, what does that mean? Weaving around our heart. We can look at it as speaking with others. Do we weave around others' hearts? Do we open our hearts to them? Are we cognizant of what's going on with them? I'm talking about people that we know. Okay. Or do we just ignore? Do we just let things go? What do we do in relation to ourselves? Judging oneself. This is really interesting. I found this with Bharat. Judging oneself is greater than judging others. When getting down on ourselves, we are really denying that we are really a child of God in ourselves. When getting down on ourselves, we are really denying that we are really a child of God in ourselves. Do we really remember that daily? Do we call out to God daily? Life can get so very busy, so chaotic, and it's very easy to step away from ourselves. And I'm talking about ourselves today in a sense of really needing to honor yourself because you are a child of God. Okay. So do we walk away from that and just let the world carry on as it does? Or do we tune in and bring God into us, bring God's consciousness into us, so that even if someone is being unjust to us, or if someone is, cutting us off on the highway, that we can still remain as a child of God and recognize that this is our goal and that God saved us in that moment, which fortunately, every one of us, God has saved in many, many moments. Okay. So Yogananda said, all good things come from stillness. The intent behind everything we do is so important. That's really worth looking at. What am I doing daily? What goes on with me day after day? Meeting people after people, being with our family, being with our colleagues. What are we doing when we're with them? What are we holding? What are we sharing? And do we take any stillness with people? So often we can find ourselves being so immersed in ourselves that we're throwing things out of ourselves, really trying to put it out there. You know, we have that saying, put it out there. That's very good for actors. Put it out there. It's good for entertainers. Put it out there. For us, what do we want to put out there? Do we want to put out our ego? Do we want to put out how important we are? Or do we want to put out our relationship with the divine? That doesn't mean that you have to go around and everybody you talk to all day long talking about God, God, God. But there are times when something is happening, and it might be with friends, it might be with others, where something is going on that is really not conducive to feeling the presence of God. And very often when we come in that, we want to take our shoulder and push it out of the way, or push someone out of the way. And what God would want us to do is to take a breath. Yeah, take a breath. So often the first remedy of something is to take a breath. Those of you who have children know that if a child has been out and they had a fight with somebody, or somebody called them a name or anything like that, and they come in and they're trying to tell their mother or their father, and they're talking really quickly and really stammering, and the parent almost doesn't even get a full picture of what's going on. Well, we're not children anymore. So it's really important to tune in to what's going on in our life, to tune in to the people that we are surrounded with. And sometimes you have a job and you don't have any choice about who's there. But we certainly have choices with our friends, with our neighbors, and certainly with those we love. And it's important to know that we are children of God and they are children of God. And that we deserve, because we are children of God, we deserve a certain amount of respect, a certain amount of caring, a certain amount of giving. And likewise, these people in our lives have that same respect. We have to give it the same respect. If we just hold it for ourselves, we get to be very alone. Yogananda said something really interesting. All good things come from stillness. The intent behind everything we do is so important. So what we want to do is deeply accept everything that God has given to us, everything that comes to us as karma, made for us to grow and fill ourselves. Swami said karma, this is Swami Kriyananda. Swami Kriyananda said karma is an expression of God's love. Have a greater sense that God is with you. Everything that comes to us is being guided by God. Thus, we can embrace the gift that we are given. The more we will be able to move through our karma, to be free of all limitations and shine with the lighting of God, and shine with that light. And we often use Om, peace, amen. It's one way of solidifying that arrangement. So I want to talk for a moment that there's a gap between our intentions and our needs. We're all part of all that is. The highest intention that we can have is to realize this and live in the consciousness of infinity. There's a beautiful mantra. Actually, it's even a chant. And it says, God who is infinite is life. God who is inner life is joy. Life is a mission from on high. Life is the quest for inner joy. When things are going well in your life, it's nice to remember that. God who is infinite, it is life. God who is inner life is joy. Life is a message from on high. Life is the quest for joy. It's also good to realize that even when things aren't going right, that there is a higher power. There is a higher way of tuning in to the spirit and being with it. Something that's important to remember also is that when we expand our consciousness, we're not separate from other people that we love or that we live with. So it's really important to tune into the higher consciousness. It's very easy to cut someone off on the highway, or if someone cuts you off on the highway, I always seem to be out on the highway there, that we can get really discombobulated. Rather than do that, this is not easy for me to say. Rather than do that, bring ourselves back into ourselves. Rather than throw out, you might not yell it out your car window, but rather than throw out something negative to that person, recognize that that person belongs to God just as much as we do. And shame on them if they're calling out badly to us, but shame on us if we're calling out badly to them. So peace is an aspect of God. And loud shouting things are not. Having trouble reading. Okay. We need to keep our eyes on our intentions and need to align them with our deeds. And that's part of the reading for today about deeds. So how do we align it with our deeds? It's really by staying awake. So often we get on our own track and we're just kind of spinning. And it's very easy to just jump into the mode of, well, I'm right, they're wrong. Why did they say that? Why did they do that? Instead of looking at ourselves, what made me say or do that? What in me got prompted to put out something negative rather than something positive? Here in Ananda, it is a place where deeds and intentions constantly are focused on the search for self-realization. And whenever I mention self-realization to someone who is not part of Ananda, they think about self-realization as me, self-realization. I need to be realized. And that's really not what we're talking about when we say self-realization. When we say self-realization, it really means realizing who we really are, realizing that we are children of God, realizing that we are sisters and brothers. I love this chant. I'm not going to chant it today, but God who is infinite is life. Just think about that. God who is infinite is life. God who is inner life is joy. Life is a mission from on high. Life is the quest for inner joy. We need to put our deeds close to our intentions. And the final goal is self-realization. Let it be something that allows us to see God in all life, in all joy. We each have our own karma. See everything we're doing as part of our life in God, whether it's our work, whether it's our family, whether it's our neighbor. We want to hold the consciousness of God always. How do we relate to the divine? Put our deeds close to our doings. In other words, what we do, to our intentions. How can we see God in all of life, in all of joy? Well, one is daily meditation. Sometimes people get very excited about meditation. Maybe they've gone to a workshop or something and they learn it and they start doing it. And after a while, it kind of begins to move away a little bit, and moves away a little bit more, and moves away a little bit more. And when this is going on, what's really happening, and for the devotee, this is really important, what's really happening is that we're moving away from the divine. We're moving away. Doesn't mean we're bad people. In fact, we could even say, well, I'm a good person, doesn't matter. But it does matter. Meditation is our correspondence with the divine. It's where we go into the quietness. It's where we go into asking the divine to reveal thyself. I love that. There's one of the chants is reveal thyself, reveal thyself. Talking to God to reveal, tell me who you are. Tell me what you want. Tell me what I can do. Okay. Okay. So let's look a little bit at deeds versus, oh, I already did that. Okay. I'm a little bit distracted today. Please forgive me, everyone. So how do we maneuver this? How do we get through this? What is really important to remember is joy. Letting go of all the things that aren't happening the way we want it to happen. Letting go, not becoming, not letting ourselves become not letting ourselves become the fall guy, so to speak, with people, but really staying with an intention of always being with the divine. And that can be with Jesus or with Yogananda. It can be with the Divine Mother. We always have that constant companion. We always have that. All we need to do is turn our hearts toward it, turn our eyes toward it, turn our mouths toward it. And they're right there. They're always right there. They come into focus. And so that's what we want to do. We want to come into focus with the divine. We want to come into focus with the world. The world might not be so willing, but the divine is always willing. There's this letter that Rajasi sent to Yogananda once. It's very short. Actually, Yogananda sent the letter to Rajasi, not Rajasi to Yogananda. Yogananda sent this letter to Rajasi. Rajasi was Yogananda's most highly elevated disciple. And Yogananda said, think God, walk more, think God, enjoy God, live God, love God, dream God, do all things for God. Walk, talk, think, work, move, carry on business for God alone. That carry on business was, Rajasi was a really very rich man and powerful man and had many businesses. But we can carry on business for God alone because we're busy people too. We do things all over the place. So I'm just going to repeat his words again. Thank God, walk more, thank God, enjoy God, live God, love God, dream God, do all things for God, walk, talk, think, work, move, carry on business for God alone. Blessings to you.